We've talked to a lot of defensive guys so far, Buck, Zaire, et cetera, Kenny, and they seem like there's a lot of hunger on this defense to take another step. How do you feel? How do you see it?
I feel great about this year. For sure, hunger. We know what we put on film last year, and we're just trying to rewrite the script and just come out here and play our best ball. We got the dudes that we wanted, and we're excited for this defense, and we're excited for the players on this defense that make plays. So.
Well, last season doesn't go like you hope it do, and then they go new coordinator, corner, safety, high in the draft. Are you just saying, hell yes?
Yeah, I feel like we have all the pieces. We're all excited, just seeing how it looked in OTAs, and we're just ready to ball out.
What have been your takeaways from getting to know Lou, and what are your expectations of this defense this season under him?
He's a no BS East Coast guy, so he's gonna call it how it is. If you're not doing your job, he's gonna let you know about it in front of everybody, and that's just the standard what it is, and that's what we need. So excited for Lou, man, and we're excited when he came in, and he put his foot down, and he just let us know how it's gonna be. So yeah, just ready.
Kwity, is he after you yet?
Yeah, a little bit, So just learning the new defense. Even though we're learning the new defense, he's still gonna get on you because that's what you want, for a guy to tell you what you're doing wrong, not to pat you on the back and tell you, it's gonna be all right. So, yeah.
Kwity, as you go into a contract year, I guess how do you view that opportunity, and is that something that's top of mind?
It's a great opportunity. I'm just gonna put my head down and play some great ball. Just excited for the opportunity. Another year with my guys. So I'm just ready.
A year ago, we were talking about how you went through a pretty intense offseason and proactive and dropped weight. What was this offseason like for you? How did you handle the training and all that?
Yeah, this offseason, I feel like I just really tailored it more towards more on the field, and then just making sure my body's feeling good, making sure my spine is mobile. Just making sure my hips are in line, my ankles are good. Just really taking care of my body this offseason. Last year, I felt like it was a good offseason, but for sure did a lot. And I wanted to take care of myself more because I feel like we're going to go far in the playoffs this year. So, wanted to do that.
You feel like last year you went maybe a little too hard at times?
Yeah, I think I went a little bit too hard at times. And, kind of just – that's the good thing about the offseason. You just see what you did last year and then see what the result was in season. And then you just tailor it up to, just have a better season. So.
What gives you that belief that you can go far in the playoffs? I mean, given the fact that you haven't made the playoffs as a team in the last 4 years.
I mean, I personally feel like we have all the pieces, and we have to kind of speak that into existence. I feel like at times we shied away from it a little bit in the past, but this year, that's the expectation. Playoffs. So nothing less than playoffs, and that's what we're striving for.
You and Latu have obviously gotten to kind of talk shop and spend time together. His rookie year, he felt like he left, a lot out there. What have conversations been like between you guys when it comes to expectations this year?
Yeah, I mean, he put a lot of great film, out there last year. Just finishing. He took it hard on himself, to finish, and he put in a lot of work this offseason. Just damn near working every day on the field. And I was talking to Coach Eddie, and he was like, "Man, Latu, he's just bugging me every day, let's go do something. Mm-hmm. So, just seeing him with that hunger, wants to improve for the team, for himself, it's great.
What's the next step, I guess, in your game? Do you going into year 5?
Yeah, year 5.
First, I guess to back up, does it feel like it's year 5? And then
Crazy.
Secondly, what are you trying to still build on?
I feel like the offseason gets shorter and shorter every year, but, just excited to, get back to it and, just really try to be a real instrumental piece in this defense, try to be a game changer, just trying to impose my will on the offense, just go out there and ball, man. Yeah, it's year 5, and I feel like I need to take that step, submit myself and, just do my thing.
You guys get judged so much by sacks, but, I mean, what's the difference sometimes between, a guy who gets 7 or 8 or 12, right? I mean, sometimes there's not a huge difference in the ability of the player, but how do you go from 6, 7, 8 to double digits,
Yeah, for me, just looking back as far as on my film, just knowing when to execute certain things. I was sitting down talking ball with my former coach, Coach Newell, who's now at USC, and just picking his brain about some things and how he approaches teaching pass rush. And just knowing like, all right, like if a guy's soft setting, like you have no choice but to run through his face. And when we were watching some of my film from last year, I would get a soft setting and try to do like a finesse move, even though I had to cut it loose to my side. That's when I can like, just say, nah, fuck the cut it loose, and just run through his face and collapse the pocket. And if I don't get the sack, I'm gonna get the pressure, and one of my teammates gonna get the sack. So just trying to impact the game any way I can, just impose my will, and just try to affect the game in my own way.
Talk about building out your body. Is anything had to change with going to Lou's system? Did you target maybe a different playing weight, or how did you kind of look at what you wanted to be coming into this training camp?
Going into the off season, I knew I wanted to cut some body fat, just be more lean. I cut 2.5, 3 pounds in body fat, so just being more lean, being able to stay out there in the field longer. I don't want to come off the field this year. I want to just stay in the field for however many plays we have. So just grinding and just being more fluid in my hips, like how we spoke about, with the drops and stuff. So getting more comfortable with that. And yeah, man, just ready.
Do you know what your playing weight is now?
My playing weight will be like 268. Yeah, 267, 68.
Dio moved on in free agency, and they brought in JT to come in and try and replace some of that. The Ohio State of it aside, how can you help a guy like that?
Yeah, JT, besides Ohio State, he's been a great guy, coming in, a great rookie. And he's been like a sponge, asking a bunch of questions, and we've been nothing but, just trying to help him get up to speed. And, he's a smart kid, and he'll be great for this defense, man. He'll be a great player for us, and I feel like he's gonna ball out. So, man, just excited for JT, excited for this defense,